Hello and welcome to another video. We want to talk about a very important topic today. Alright, this is the reason why you have to see a dietitian in 2023. Okay, we are halfway through the year and this is the best time to see a dietitian before the year ends. Alright, most people are postponing their appointments with their dietitian and medical care in general. Right, so we want to understand why it's very important to see a dietitian before the year ends. Right, and the first reason is chronic diseases are on the rise. Yes, chronic diseases are on the rise. What do I mean by chronic diseases are on the rise? So, do you have any relative who has diabetes? Do you have any relative who has hypertension or cholesterol issues? Or do you know anyone who has stroke? These are diseases that are generally termed as chronic diseases. Okay, there are so many of them, but these are a few chronic diseases I've mentioned. Right, so you know someone who has diabetes, you know someone who has hypertension. Have you asked yourself how they got these diseases? Because someone wakes up early in the morning, goes for jogging and never returns. Or you know someone who has had diabetes for some time and the person goes to the hospital, comes back with an amputation, and you understand what is going on by looking at the person. You have no idea what is going on, but you know the person has diabetes. Okay, so usually with this chronic diseases, it starts from an acute phase. Okay, an acute phase, usually you don't get much symptoms. Like diabetes, for instance, you start experiencing some urge to urinate more frequently than usual. Okay, and you start to get hungry. Some of these symptoms of diabetes that people usually ignore, okay, take it for granted, because it's not really something that is a problem at that particular moment, until it becomes more problematic, until you develop a foot ulcer on your leg or a sore on your leg and you realize that the sore is not healing. That's how these chronic diseases can be very problematic. Alright, so these diseases are on the rise. Okay, some families have a family history. When I say family history, when you trace your family tree or you trace your lineage, you realize that maybe an uncle or an auntie had diabetes, or maybe one of your parents has diabetes or hypertension. When you check your family history, you realize that there are some may have these issues. You may know someone who is battling with diabetes or someone who has a stroke. Okay, these are chronic diseases that are on the rise. Okay, and it could affect anyone at all can get these chronic diseases. So anyone at all can get these chronic diseases. Right, but there are certain factors, there are certain things that you can do that can minimize your risk of getting chronic diseases, and one of them is diet. Okay, your nutrition is very important. The food you are eating really affects your health. Okay, when you consume excess of junk food, you consume excess of unhealthy foods, you are going to increase your risk of some of these chronic diseases I have mentioned, like diabetes, hypertension, kidney diseases, and all these problems. So you want to watch your diet. Your diet is very important. If anything at all, your breakfast, you want to make sure that it's a healthy breakfast you are taking. You want to make sure that your lunch is very healthy, your supper is very healthy. You want to avoid late night eating and some of these healthy lifestyle factors that you want to incorporate in your life to minimize your risk of these chronic diseases. Already, if there's a family history of chronic diseases, you want to be very mindful about your diet. Your nutrition plays a very important role as to whether the illness is going to come early or later. It depends on your diet as well. Okay, aside the other lifestyle factors, your diet is very important to prevent chronic diseases or delay the onset of some of these chronic diseases. If you eat very healthy, you are going to live a very healthy life and prevent most of these chronic diseases. This is why it's important to see a dietitian this year before the year ends. Right? Some people feel that the food you are eating is healthy. Okay, and that's one big mistake people are doing. You are eating your food thinking it's healthy for you. What may be healthy for you may not be healthy for another person. Looking at your risk factors and other things, some foods may not be healthy for you and the quantities may not be very healthy for you. So you want to see a dietitian who will assess you. I'm a dietitian myself, and I have clients who I see on a daily basis and some on appointments. All right, you want to see a dietitian who will assess you, and we can recommend some foods that are going to improve your health. If you have any of this illness that you are managing, we are able to look at certain foods that can reduce your symptoms, okay, and make your medications work and prevent some drug nutrient interactions and other things. So you want to see a dietitian before the year ends for an assessment to improve your health, okay, and prevent these diseases. So see a dietitian this year to have an assessment and an overall overview of the foods that will help you improve your health and prevent these chronic diseases that I've mentioned. Alright, so subscribe to this channel and we have more to talk about.